Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features the Astonishing X-Men number 4 cover dated June 1995. So this cover is by Joe Madureira, inked by Tim Townsend and coloured by Steve Buccellato. And this is the era when colorists would begin to sign their names to the cover work, and it makes sense because really the colour is tremendous on this cover. It really is what is so eye-catching about the cover. And we have a standard kind of tough guy looking and tough woman looking pose here on the cover, but it is well designed and it works well. It doesn't really do any storytelling or anything like that, but the characters do look cool, and that's important as well. But yeah, just look at the work by Buccellato there on Iceman. That is tremendous. So let's open this one up to the splash page, and Joe Madureira has been opening the issues with a full splash and then a double page spread. So he continues that in issue 4 of the series, and that is another great splash page there, focusing in on, of course, Blink, and I like the double lighting on the character, and Steve Buccellato's colouring again is doing a lot of work here. But really making this splash image sing. So the creative team is Scott Lobdell for plot and dialogue. That's because he didn't dialogue all the issues. He had help from the likes of Jeff Loeb in previous installments. Joe Madureira, full pencils, Tim Townsend and Al Milgrom inks. Al Milgrom comes on board for the last 6 pages of the issue. I much prefer Tim Townsend's inks on Madureira, but my feeling is that Al Milgrom was brought in because of deadline crunch issues. Steve Buccellato colors, Digital Chameleon doing the separations for Buccellato, Richard Starkings and Comicraft on letters. So at the end of the previous issue, Blink went for Holocaust. She's calling him out there, and here we go. We'll see our double page spread now. Look at that, that's excellent. So we get Blink here in the foreground and Holocaust here in the midground, and she's facing off against him, and there's a bit of to and fro between them here, but he says to her, in a world where only the strongest mutant will survive, you are a survivor. I almost feel badly about having to kill you. So Blink wants to get him because he killed, quote unquote, killed Sabretooth in the previous issue. She saw Sabretooth's corpse strung up with his rib cage pulled open, and she wants to take Holocaust out. A lot of work on this page. I like the way that Madureira will do the likes of establishing the background here. We're in this genetic infinites processing facility that's run by Holocaust in the Midwest. So he establishes the location, and then he will simply tell the story with the figure work here. But he has done the establishing shot for us, so we know where we are, and so we can allow, excuse me, as readers, no backgrounds in these panels, and it's not really a problem. So Blink has the power to teleport. She uses a different system from Nightcrawler, let's say, but in effect, she kind of does the same things as Nightcrawler. So she pops up behind Holocaust here. What I really like is, again, Buccellato here, his colouring on Holocaust is great, and I love the way that Holocaust's skull has that kind of spotting of blacks on it, but with Buccellato's colouring, it just all works out very well under his crystal armour. So she tries to crack open that armour, and he grabs her. I like the sound effect there by Starkins, just grab, and throws her at the wall. Now we've got the speed lines there from Madureira. Madureira obviously having that manga influence on his art, and we see it particularly here with the speed lines going towards the brick wall. And in the narrative captions, we learn that Holocaust was taunting her to distract her long enough for her spine to shatter against the wall. Instead, however, and that's a great shot there of her hurtling towards the wall. So great action choreography here from Madureira on this particular page. So another great double page spread here, great anchor image here, but we see her blink through the wall and pop up behind Holocaust, hits him in the back and cracks his armor there. She's standing on top of him, and she basically has him now in a standoff. You've tortured and killed a lot of people over the years, she says. Innocents, humans, mutants, you deemed useless. Anyone who opposed you in your Lord's survivalist racist dogma. So tell me, how's it feel knowing you're going to die? And he responds to her with that skull grin on his face. You must be joking. It appears you and I have come to something of a standoff. Nothing more, nothing less. Tell me, Clarice, do you really think you're faster than I am? Blink. And so he drops down into some genetic sludge. And she says to him here, my name is Blink. Who do you think is faster? Half scan. And that is a great 6-page sequence by Madureira. A great way to open up the issue. And Lobdell really recognizing here that the star of the show is not him, not his plotting, not his writing, but rather Madureira's art. And he's allowing Madureira to really shine on this issue. And as I said, you've got this perfect combination at the art team level of Madureira's pencils, Tim Townsend's inks, and Buccellado's colors. That just looks so well, all of it. And then we have a great full-page image of Rogue and her section of the team fighting the Infinites here. And we have little labels calling out their names as well for any readers who hadn't picked up any previous issues. So we've got Sunfire there looking extremely cool. Rogue here with her super strength. Morph here in the background and Wildchild in the front, biting on this Infinites helmet. So that's a great little sequence there. So they're holding the Infinites at bay in the facility. And then I like the storytelling on this page. We've got a top tier of panels and a bottom tier of panels, and we've got two scenes between the two tiers. So here we've got an interaction between Sunfire and Rogue, and she's telling Sunfire to pull Wildchild out and to help the survivors, to free the survivors of the Cullings, to let the humans free from the facility. So she's the leader of the X-Men team in the field, and off they pop. And that's a great image there by Madureira of Sunfire racing away, having yanked Wildchild off those Infinites. Now Rogue telling Morph to zip it as they continue tackling the Infinites. So we've got this nice little comic scene of Morph zipping up, and then he's thinking to himself here, not even a smile. Sid, I think it's time you accepted the fact this could be it. So Morph providing kind of Looney Tunes comic value throughout the series, but like this is a grim situation that they're facing, and we are rolling towards the end. So could be it, and then we switch to Apocalypse's Citadel in Manhattan. That's a really nice establishing shot there with the searchlights and everything, and the lighting of the rooftops there. And then we have this holographic image of Rogue in fighting the Infinites in the Midwest. And we have Magneto, who was captured by Apocalypse in Amazing X-Men #3. And he's there being taunted with that holographic image of his wife, who he calls his love, his life, and then who approaches in dark silhouette, except the tyrant, Apocalypse. And look at his huge, massive figure there, as Magneto is strung up by whatever these energy restraints are that probably, I expect, dampen his powers over the magnetic fields and forces. So Apocalypse says here, I only allowed you a glimpse of your beloved wife in order to show you that soon all your X-Men will fall. How does it feel knowing it was your failure that will lead to the slaughter of all you hold dear? So Apocalypse isn't simply going to kill Magneto, he wants to break Magneto, have him despair before he kills him. And of course that's Apocalypse is a proper villain. Now there we get a good look at his costume, his Age of Apocalypse design costume. And I have said in comments before, but I'm going to say it here because you get a good look at it here, that his style of costume in Age of Apocalypse is he's got the heroic colors on that costume design, the red and the blue, which are, of course go back to Superman, because Apocalypse in this reality considers himself the hero because of his commitment to his ethos of survival of the fittest. He sees that as good, and so he is the hero, having ascended to mastery of North America. So there's some resistance from Magneto, noble resistance here. He says, I and everyone like me who believes you and your horsemen are wrong will never stop fighting. So Apocalypse, who's in complete charge of things, even though Magneto has him by the throat, clicks his fingers and he gets some control over Magneto's body where you could kill him. You will die, all of you, soon. So Magneto drops to the floor. So Apocalypse isn't going to kill him. He wants to break his spirit, as I was saying. So that's a nice little scene. We've got Apocalypse's factotum there, his personal assistant Rex, who always, who sometimes has this kind of look on his face that would give you to believe that, he's maybe got more sympathy for Magneto than loyalty to Apocalypse. But he knows which side his bread is buttered on, so he's loyal to Apocalypse, at least ostensibly. So then we're back to the plant in the Midwest. Maybe we should have been told that it's the Midwest rather than outside Apocalypse's citadel. We've got the humans here that were workers at the plant. The Infinites are executing them. So the humans are trying to get over this wall and they're crushing themselves in their attempt. This one is in despair here on his knees. And so they continue their culling of them, but they're interrupted by a howl from Wildchild up here. And that means that Sunfire's arrived too. So they follow through on Rogue's orders. That's a great anchor image of Sunfire flying to the rescue. And so he destroys those Infinites with atomic power. The chain fence is burnt open, and the humans there are freed. And he says to them, "Go now, you are free." And this is all part of Sunfire's overcoming his guilt at being unable to prevent the genocide of Japan. This old woman here says, "Free mutants. What about Apocalypse? So long as he lives, none of us are truly free." And Sunfire says here, looking off to the left, "Trust me, madam, that very situation is being resolved even as I speak." Great colouring on this page. It looks so good. Buccellado's eye for colours is excellent. And the rendering of the fiery flames there as well behind Sunfire is really, really well done. And then we're back inside the facility. So we've got Morph apparently arriving in his trademark kind of cartoony style of dialogue. He asks Clarice, "Is she okay? What happened to a Holocaust? What's the capital of Nebraska?" Just completely random. I like that. And so she says, "Morph, Mr. Creed is dead. I don't think it would hurt for you to be serious for 5 minutes." So he says, "You're right, and I apologize. And again, what happened to a Holocaust?" Does that sound like Morph? So she explains she dumped him into the genetic stew here in one of these vats behind her. But look, there is an explosion, and that genetic stew starts streaming out of the vat, and this hand dripping goop and vapor emerges, asking the question, the outraged question, "How dare you?" And I like that drawing there by Madureira, where Morph has morphed into, the verb of course is morphed into this kind of corner of a wall to protect Clarice from the genetic stew. So good storytelling on this particular page. And here we have Holocaust is out. And he is back to his old self, but he is angry. He is enraged. So he grabs Clarice by the throat and asks, "How dare you?" So she calls out for Morph, and he says, "Sure, a minute ago I was class clown, now you need me all of a sudden." And here, this is the interesting part. So he touches the end of Holocaust's cannon here, hand cannon, and he says, "Ouch, your brain is reversing its electromagnetic flow. That has got to hurt." And Clarice is confused. "How do you know that, Morph?" So here we get the explanation. It wasn't Morph. It was Rogue who had absorbed Morph's power. So Rogue, as X-Man leader in the field, is also a tactician, and she's come up with a very good one there to take care of Holocaust. So she smashes that hand cannon, and then the real Morph arrives, and he drops right down on Holocaust in the form of a massive cartoon brick. He says, "I'd give you a hand, but nah, it's too obvious even for me." So he drops on him like a massive brick. Again, great storytelling on these pages. Super, super clear storytelling from Madureira. And again, look at the digital effects here to convey the motion in these two panels. Not too bad. I don't think it's fantastic, but it's not too bad. It reads, as they say. So let's continue And here we have a really cool anchor image of the team facing off against Holocaust. So Holocaust is down but not out. That's excellent work there. And so he punches Rogue. And now we're at the point that Al Milgrom starts his stint, his 6-page stint, inking the issue. So Rogue is knocked right into the ground and leaves this trail behind her. So Morph runs after her as Sunfire, Blink and Wildchild go at Holocaust again. He's so difficult to take out. And he jumps down and Rogue seems to be dead at this point. So Morph gets an idea. He says, oh man, you can't die on us, you can't. And then he transforms into Charles Lensher, that is Rogue's son with Magneto. And that gets her to wake up and fight for life. And she says to him, good call, Morph. You figured morphing into my son was the only thing that'd get my attention. You were right. Just never realized you had such a sentimental side to you, Sydney. So then there's a comic bit there where he talks about Lassie reruns and how they always make him cry. And then he goes and grabs Wildchild and Blink, preventing them from taking on Holocaust. So Rogue winds up again for another massive punch at Holocaust here. Kick as well. Just great fight choreography in these panels from Madureira. So Holocaust here enraged. He does that skull so well too. And Rogue gives him a huge punch, I would say. Knocks him off onto the ground. You see the drawing of the ground breaking under his body as he slides along it. That's really well done. And Rogue here winding up for another punch, because Holocaust has revealed to her that Magneto's been captured, that Bishop's been captured, and that Apocalypse has promised him that he'd be allowed to keep an eye on your son. He was just about to start off saying Charles, and so she really punches him hard and now is coming for him to take him out. Now these 2 pages here, the inking is a bit rough, I would say, because my idea is that Milgrom was brought in to ensure that the issue went to the printers on time, and he must have been under extreme time pressure. I'd say, like he might have inked these 2 pages in a few hours because the inking is a little bit rough. But Madureira's art is all there and the storytelling's all there. And Buccellado's doing what he can in the colouring to make these couple of pages work as well. So she knocks Holocaust towards this big red button. There it is. And it seems that they're on a teleportation platform. So he hits the button. He's aiming to teleport to Apocalypse's citadel. And then Rogue, who wants to go with him, she's got her fists clenched. And she is grabbed by an ice lasso, because back in Amazing X-Men number 3, Quicksilver ordered Iceman to go help Rogue, go get Rogue and help her. And so he's arrived. And look who else is okay, except for Sabretooth himself. His healing factor obviously now was equal to being eviscerated. He was able to put himself back together from having his guts torn out and his rib cage ripped open by Holocaust. So that's pretty like a turn up for the books. So Rogue is angry here, but Iceman explains, because Creed agrees with him that it wouldn't be a good idea to go to the Citadel. You want to square off against Apocalypse, get your husband back, free your kid. If he's there, fine. But I didn't travel clear across the country on Pietro's say-so to watch you sacrifice yourself. And she responds, I'd walk into hell if it meant saving my child. So fair enough. Last page. Now, I think that if Milgrom was rushed on those other 2 pages, he took his time on this one, and it looks good. The double lighting effect here on the characters. This is a super, super cool anchor image. And again, great work by Buccellato on the colors there in the background. I really love the way that he does the skies, the violet blending into indigo in the night sky. So also one other thing to note, again, in relation to the rushing of this issue, it looks like the dialogue in the speech bubbles was either changed or added after the digital lettering, because these are clearly hand lettered. They're uneven. This is not digital lettering. So I wonder what was the origin of that. Something added in afterwards. Added in afterwards after the digital lettering was done. So a reuniting of Sabretooth and Blink there, and Iceman saying here, "Are you okay now?" And she says, "Honestly, I'm not sure. All I know for certain is that tonight, one way or another, the age of apocalypse is over, and it looks like everybody means it," in that concluding anchor image. Morph over here, really bulked up with his comical dialogue, and then read Amazing X-Men number 4 and get ready for X-Men Omega. It's all going to end with a bang. So this is the beginning of the end. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on the Astonishing X-Men number 4. If you did, please like the video on YouTube, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.